Come up to the stage. Keep it going for Natasha. After my date not only suggested we raft my favorite section of my favorite river, but paid for the trip and then single-handedly rescued the majority of the swimmers from the boat that flipped, I couldn't wait to see what was going to happen on our second date. It was that sweet spot in between summer and fall, and we were in that sweet spot where we didn't want to wait till the weekend to meet up, so we made a plan to meet for tacos midweek. And when I saw him strolling down that street, his head cocked to one side, suggesting, I like what I see, well, the feeling was mutual. And it had been a hot minute since I'd felt that kind of a way. So we settled in on the busy sidewalk in Vancouver, and the noise swirled around us, but it was nothing compared to his announcement. So, I have this rash. Now, of all the things you don't want to hear on a date, that is pretty high up there. Add to that the fact that it was the time of monkeypox. I come from a medical family. I am a licensed naturopathic doctor, but I don't have a ton of derm experience. And then there was that bit that we were on a date. So I was a little bit relieved when he pointed below the picnic table to indicate his calf, but something was seeping from below his jeans. And I wanted to say something like, just because I have watched dissection videos over dinner doesn't mean I want to play a game of kiss or diagnosis on a date. But the medical part of me, it went out. I felt I had an ethical obligation to follow up, but he was backpedaling down that metaphorical river, trying to say it was no biggie. And we went a couple of rounds on this, and finally we agreed. And the agreement went like this. He would reveal whatever was brewing below the picnic table, and we would get back to eating. Well, when he slowly pulled up his pant leg, I gotta tell you, the second part of that deal was gonna be really hard to keep. What was staring back at me was so raw and angry. It was a plaque over pox, and I'm pretty sure it had eyes and it had a mouth, and it screamed something like, "You just earned a trip to urgent care." Now, he won a couple of rounds on that one, too, because he wasn't sure if his medical insurance had kicked in yet from work, and that is a real thing. But whatever was going on below his pant line, it was progressing. And if it was an infection that was going internal, if it went systemic, we were talking about his life. Somehow he returned to his tacos while I assessed urgent care's Vancouver versus Portland. And when he finished his meal, because he really is a gentleman to his core, we hopped in his truck and he took us to urgent care in Portland. He probably even opened my car door for me before we entered. They took one look at what was going on below his pants, said, "We're closing in 5 minutes and y'all need to go to the ER." So we hopped back in his truck, we went back to Portland, and I gotta tell you, we delighted that ER clerk to no end when we came in and we announced, "We're on a second date." "How's it going?" she asked. And we smiled below our masks. And when we settled into the waiting room, my date, he leaned over and he whispered something in my ear like, "I am the luckiest guy right now, because I have you with me." And for a second, I felt like I had entered the Nora Ephron version of my life, and maybe everything was going to be all right. And when the ER doc took a look at him, he called it what it was, which is severe poison oak, the kind that happens and expresses what it expresses when you have an open wound and you jump into the Columbia River. He maybe forgot to tell me about that part, but it was totally treatable on the spot. He got his treatment. There was no admission to the hospital, and we walked into that ER parking lot, and in that humid night under the stars, we did what we felt was right. We ripped off our masks and started making out like teenagers. We ignored whatever was going on south of his equator. And I may even still have one selfie below that ER sign. And even though we never made it past a third or a fourth date, there is that light-emitting diode of a moment forever lit in that sweet spot of memory.
Keep it going for Natasha.